um, will get shared to you guys in the Google Drive in specific folders. So once the formalities are completed, you will get a shared folder like this in my drive and shared with the people. And like this, your PPTs will come in the PDF format, whatever we have explained in the session. And these can be used as a basic reading material for you whenever you have planning to do a recap quickly. Just by recapping these things, you will by reading these few pages material, you will recap the things. And then, as I said, there is a step-by-step document. These are the documents. These needs to be converted into the PDFs again, but I didn't get time to convert. So I will convert them in this week. I have few holidays. So you will get a step-by-step examples for each and every session like this. So with this you can practice, and mm, you will get two projects for practice at the end. So these are the practice. These are also from Mule. You will get a step-by-step document to practice. This is one project. I will explain this project how you can convert this into a exactly mimicking of your real-time project. And this is one, and this is another project. This is also from the MuleSoft, right? So here also you'll have step-by-step things are available. I will execute them and show you in the session, and then I will explain you how this will be in real time. Okay, so let's get started. So 12 members. Mm, Yesterday we had about introduction session about just what is middleware, what is your life before middleware and after middleware. And then we have discussed MuleSoft as an integration platform, advantages, and the prerequisites to learn the MuleSoft and as well as to run the MuleSoft hardware requirement, and what you will get in my training and how to choose a trainer. So this is general information I have given. So those who have not attended the session, you can go and attend the session in the YouTube. It was uploaded, and your session videos will be also uploaded in the YouTube especially. And so here will be channels for each and every batch. So say suppose 8:30 a.m. batch, this was completed. For them, there are almost complete session videos were there. This will be shared in a private mode only for the participants. So this will be there until YouTube allows for public free uploading of videos. And for another batch, so they are still continuing at 29th session. So this will be available, but these will be available only for the people, these are with private access. This will not be available for the people who doesn't have any, even I need to control, I have control over the access. Suppose if I click this on, you know, an incognito window without sign in, so this no videos will be showed here. So you have to sign in with a proper ID that you have given to me. Then only I will allow you guys to see these videos. Okay, so like this you will get. And for the first video, you can see that first video here in the demo session. So those who have missed, please take this, save this, and then and then go through the first session. Okay, so in the first session, what we have discussed is just we have discussed about we have discussed about what is integration and history. Integration is something like enabling the data transfer between two different applications in the organization. And early days, they used to do the integration over exchange of the papers. Later, web applications comes into the picture, and that point of time, they started integration. And initial days, they used to do one-to-one integrations. So initially, with few systems, it looks good, but when the systems keep on increasing, there will be the developers or the IT team will lose the control on the integration. So what integration is going to, I mean, how many integrations do we have, how many systems are getting integrated. So to solve that problem, we have a middleware comes into the picture. So whatever we are enabling the integration or data transfer between different systems, they will go through the middleware. And then the name middleware comes from the fact that it is a software that sits between two or more applications or the systems. Okay. And then how many ways you can do the integrations? If you go to any tool, these are the ways you can perform the integrations. If you learn Mule, if you learn Oracle Server, TIBCO, apart from this, there is no other way you can do the integration. So that is the region, as I told you yesterday. This is my fourth or fifth middleware tool, but if you are good at the concepts, if you know integration happens over the file means I will get this kind of file, I have to process like this. So if you have a generic idea on the one system, I mean how integrations happens on the one system, the same thing will happen in a different system as well, different integration product as well, but the naming and the convention or the syntax may change, but the um, but the end, whatever we are going to integrate, the core will not change. So these are the different ways you can do integration in any of the tools. What are the popular tools we have which supports these integrations? So these are the tools. So previously TIBCO, BW and Oracle Java Suite are the leaders in the integration. Later, for the current requirements of the cloud and APIs, they are not supporting it. That's the reason they get outdated, and these two get the updated into the market. So that's what, even in the software, if you want to stay in the field, you need to update yourself, or else you will get outdated like them. Okay. And then we started discussing about MuleSoft. It's a vendor, provides an integration platform to helps the businesses to connect the data, applications and devices across on-premise and cloud computing environments. Same definition, but according to the new terminology, instead of applications, we have data in different places and devices. And these are not on one place, these are on the cloud computing as well. So the same definition that we have discussed here, they are saying they might be data or applications or more devices, might be in your on-premise or might be in the cloud. Just they updated the definition. Okay, and these are few formal, these are the customer base and developers, information and advantages of the MuleSoft. So these are the general advantages. Just go through them. So what is real MuleSoft Anypoint platform, that we will discuss on sessions after 20th session. Here you will get the core details of the any point platform, starting with an API and all. Those who have already have some idea and don't get worried about why I'm not covering this. So every trainer has his own screenplay to present the contents at right point of time. So according to my screenplay, so you will get this things at the 20th session. So by the time you will be perfect in the implementation, and once you are done with the implementation, then we will go to the platform. So those who doesn't know that, just ignore it. So you will have some concept called platform that will get introduced in the 21st and 22nd session. And I think I didn't share you guys the course content. So what you guys do is, um, go to this place. This is my Facebook post. Here I have updated uh, information about my training. So go here, do save that if you don't have it. And here I have mentioned about my course content. So this is the course content we are going to cover in our session. This is the course content and approximate duration of the each session that I'm going to cover has recorded here. Okay, so this would be your course content. Just go through it. And next thing is we discussed about advantages and licensing, and the most important one is prerequisites to learn the MuleSoft. There is nothing prerequisite is required to learn the MuleSoft. Not only MuleSoft, in current days market, to learn any software course, you don't need a prerequisite if you approach a proper trainer. And then hardware requirement is you need at least 4 GB of RAM. If it's possible for you, make it 8 GB or even more than that if you have physical resources available for you to upgrade your system, or if you are planning to buy a new laptop or new machine, just make sure that at least you will buy with 16 GB, or if you have enough money in the hand, go to 32 GB directly so that it will stay for another 5-6 years. So what you will get in my session, I have already explained at the starting of this session as well. You will get the PowerPoint and the PPT as a reading material and practice guides and step-by-step guide for practice and videos. You will get lifetime access, and you can pay once and you can do take any number of retakes. But condition is when you are doing the retake, you should not ever unmute yourself and speak or disturb in the class, and your questions will be answered at the last. Just to make sure that as it's a retake and this session is planned for the some other people, if there is no other question from the existing current new team, then your questions will be answered. Still your questions will be answered at the end of the session if you stay in the call. Okay, so end-to-end projects at the end of the session, two projects we'll cover, and within the course we'll develop a small example which covers most of the concepts, and as well as its resemblance of your real-time project. Okay, so with if you guys practice all my examples and follow all my concepts, you can easily cover the clear the certification just by seeing the few questions. So I'm trying for the sample questions of the certifications. I have old questions, so I'm trying for the new questions. If I'm sure I will get it. If I get it, depending on the people requirement, I do share them. And optionally, I will help you in the resume preparation. So why I kept it optional is there are few people, just started troubling me, saying that some of the time they will call me and directly asking, I have interview tomorrow. Can you help me with the resume? Something like that. So why I kept optional is so these will be helped, but it needs some time to get it done. So that's why I kept in optional. So after the course, if you approach me and if you set some time, schedule some time with me, then I will help you on these areas. There is nothing like that I cannot help you, or I cannot. I do say no, but I'll help you always. But at right time, we'll discuss the things. And choose the trainer wisely. So already we have discussed it. So don't get the feedback from the real students and try to go and attend not the demo sessions, go and attend some real sessions who are have where already the batch is going on, so there attend it so that you will see the how actually class is going on. So demo sessions are the sessions just you'll try to act smart in that 1 hour, and don't get trapped with fancy words: certification support, interview questions, interview support, proxy interview. So you're joining the course to learn the concepts, not to get the this silly things. If you pay few bucks, you will get the certification. If you Google, you will get the interview question, right? So same thing. So do compare multiple trainers. Don't blindly join at one place or one institute. First ever thing I'll do is I'll say this. Get the feedback from the old students. If they say yes, then go blindly join there. and make sure what are the promises they are giving, are they really addressable or not. So example, real-time project, for how many people, how many batches, how many students will they give real-time projects? So if they give one real-time project, is it enough to for all the members? If all the members carries the same projects to the interviews, what will happen? So do think about that. And that's all. So 10-15 minutes or so, let's go and start our new topic. So setup and first example. So setup and first example. So content studio introduction, download and install, building fast Mule application and introduction to the applications and flow, Mule flows, running your first Mule application. So introduction to Anypoint Studio. So wherever you go and to learn any of the development codes, every course needs in a tool to develop its code. So your Mule code will be developed in the Anypoint Studio. Whenever you are learning C or Java or .NET or anything, at least you will have some kind of notepad kind of tool where you will write your code, right? So the place to write your code and plus the place for compilation, running, packaging. If any tool that supports all these things, then it is called integrated development environment. So let's go and create a folder for you guys. 7 a.m. So what is an IDE? IDE is something, right? Where do you write your code? So generally whenever we started learning the things, we'll write our code in the notepads, but in the notepad, it won't support, you cannot compile your code in the notepad or you cannot run your code in the notepad and you cannot do other XYZ functions in the notepad. So if you have something with features to notepad plus compile plus run plus some other functionalities, whatever it may be, that is called integrated development environment. So generally this integrated development environment comes from the concept of Java, where you have a tool called Eclipse. So your Mule is also developed on the Java tool. Not only Mule, all the popular middlewares are developed on the Java, and they took the Eclipse as their base environment. On top of that, they have added some software and they created their own IDE. It applies starting with TIBCO to until today Mule. So this is called IDE. So they named it as Anypoint Studio. So what we will do in the Anypoint Studio, can anyone can given your understanding on this? What we will do in Anypoint Studio, the new guys? What we will do in the Anypoint Studio, just now we have discussed. We'll develop our code. We will develop our code, we'll compile it, we'll run it, and we'll do some other XYZ functionalities. So whatever that XYZ, we'll see at the later point of time. So we will use Anypoint Studio as an integrated development environment. And then it features include two-way editing between graphical and XML. What is this graphical and XML? In the first session, we have discussed Mule development is completely drag and drop. When you want a drag and drop, it should be a graphical view, not a characterized view. So when you do graphical view at the back end, it will generate some XML code. So with the help of your Anypoint Studio, you can modify your code in the two places, two-way editing. You can do it from the graphical view, you can do it from the XML view, and you have some pre-built tooling to connect to the some blah 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 kind of stuff that we'll see what is this blah blah blah. I don't want to explain all this thing, but why it was mentioned, it is mentioned here just to make sure when you are reviewing this material at the time, just for recapping purpose, these points are mentioned. And it has a data transformation framework and language, and it has a Mule runtime to test applications in the studio, and you have debugging capabilities. And so these are the XXX I said, debugging capabilities, and the deployment into the cloud hub, integration with maven for continuous build process. So you might be not knowing all the points, but you will get clarity when we move on to the next sessions. Okay, remember, when you see new things in the material, these are for your reading purpose at the end of the sessions. After completing the courses, when you are recapping, this will help you. But for the current session, whatever is required at this moment, I will cover you that. Anypoint Studio setup, how do you set up this? So you have to download this first. So from where I could download this? So go to this link and then download this. So, and then download this. So this is the place where you can download. So click on the respective environment and then click here. You will get this is the documentation basically. I have given link to documentation. So current version of the studio is 7.7. Studio, Anypoint Studio itself is a software, right? It will have some version. So here you need to download. So download the Anypoint Studio installation from the file, and these are the instructions for how do you create or how do you install it. So go here and choose your operating system and then click on the download. You will get a zip file will get downloaded. As I have multiple copies in my machine, I am not completing that process to download. So here you will get a file like this, and then right click and extract it. You will get this kind of software. This is called your Anypoint Studio software. And that when you have an exe file, just create a shortcut of this file on your desktop or wherever you want, and then double click this to start the Anypoint Studio. So I already had some kind of I already had some shortcut in my desktop. I'm opening this. So with this, your Anypoint Studio will start. So as I said yesterday, what are the prerequisites for your learning the Mule? The prerequisites to learn the Mule is Anypoint Studio 7.7 version, and Anypoint Studio 7.7 version. So this is the latest version. You can do the same things in the previous versions as well. So let me save you. Let me create. So whenever you are opening a studio, it will ask for some place where do I save my projects. It will ask for that place. So I do create a batch folder for every batch, and do I create a workspace folder. So this is the workspace. This is a space for my working. Whatever the projects that are getting developed in your batch, they will get saved here. And then click on launch. Your studio will get started. And then the next version is runtime. What is runtime? Studio is something is a place where you will create your application. So that is the studio version. Runtime is something the applications designed in the studio will deployed and run in this place. This is called runtime. So Mule 4.3 is your runtime. The current version of Mule is Mule 4 4.3. So Mule has two major versions, successful versions, Mule 3 and Mule 4. So we are learning on the Mule 4. Mule 3 is almost outdated. So there are new projects on the Mule 3, only the projects on the Mule 4. There are here and there are few projects on the Mule 3 that are being continuing from the few years. Even they will get upgraded to the Mule 4. Okay, your studio will load. It will take some time to load. So the reason is the studio is an heavyweight thing. It will comes up with many functionalities inside it. So this is what your studio is. So if you already have seen it, then it's fine. If you don't see it, this is the studio. So don't get confused or don't get worry about this. So this is a small, very small thing. So daily we will come here and work on the things. So first 1 or 2 days it looks bit new for you, but when you keep on doing the things, you will get habituated to it. So it takes some time to load. So allow it some time depending on your system configuration. So that's the reason I told you to get a good high configuration system if you have a provision. So my laptop is 7 years, 8 years old laptop. At that time, I bought it with 8 GB in 2012. So that's the reason still even today it is surviving. So let's wait for it to come up, and meanwhile, let's go and see the slides. So Anypoint Studio Anatomy. So we'll try to learn the Anypoint Studio. So first we will develop our first example and run the first example and then come here and then try to try to discuss about each and every part of it. So let's go and get this. So I shared you the location for download. No, I didn't share you the location to download. So let me share you the location to download. So go here and make sure I'm not giving you direct link. I'm redirecting you to the documentation page so that you will see the documentation. So when I give the links of the documentation, do read, 1 or 2 places here. Okay. And then here is the link, and then here is the link for your actual download. So first 2-3 days, you will get only links, and once after completing the formalities, you will get all the materials. So next thing is first application deployment. So already they have provided steps here. So I am not providing any steps here, steps for this first 1 or 2 examples.
So,
So yes, Srinivas.
sir, it is a trial pack, right?
Which one is a trial pack?
Uh,
Software?
yeah, yes, sir.
No, it's not a trial. Usually they will say 30-day free trial, but it's not a trial. It will be available for many days.
Okay, okay.
I created this. I downloaded this way back. Not even date modified, date created. I created this 13th October. Still, this is working. Okay, 15th June. Still, this will work. So, Studio doesn't have any license, but not sure why they mentioned it as a trial period. Okay, so now you will get some kind of help informative window. Just continue, click on the continue with Studio, and then go here, create a new Mule project and run. That is our intention. So I'm closing the unnecessary windows to avoid system struck. So hello Mule tutorial. To demonstrate the Mule application, application. So this is your Mule application looks like when you develop it, and when you run it, it will show something like this. Okay, prerequisite and how the example works. Please go through it and set up the example. Create a project in the Anypoint Studio named Hello Mule. So let's do that. So how to create a new project? Every other tool supports like file, menu options. Here you have file new, Mule project, and there you can from toolbar you can create on the new click on the new and Mule project, or when you open first time your studio, very first time, if you don't have any other projects, here you will get the link. So everything will take you to the same screen wherever you do click. So the final window that gets opens is same. Okay, then provide the name. So in my session all example starts with an alphabet character, so that all sessions will be in an order. So a hyphen hello world, no, first hyphen example is my first application name, and then click on finish. So when you click on finish, your project will be created. It do download few of the required libraries. So it takes some time. When you first open your workspace, your studio, it do download the required things into your workspace. So that's the reason it may look like, it may go to not responding state, or it may, it may take some time to get the things done for us. So be patient for first 1 or 2 days, so that in the meantime it will download all the required things. So my project was created, still creating. So I'm doing a small step here, which is not relevant to you guys. You will get this step at the end of the sessions. So ignore this step, whatever I did now. So this is your first project. So this Anypoint Studio is contains different small windows like this. These are all called views. You are seeing a maximize button and a minimize button everywhere. So that is nothing but a window. So this is called a view. Each view has its a different purpose. So we'll see about three views now. One is the project. What are the projects I have? What are the files inside the project? To see that, I have a package explorer. And when you create a project, you will get the folder structure like this. You will get to know each and everything when you before you close before we complete all our sessions. And then inside that, time being, only concentrate on the first folder, src main mule. So as it contains mule as a name here, so inside that your mule code will be there. So when you create a project first time, so a file will be created with your project name, and then if you double click that file, so the file will get opened. So the place it opened is called canvas. This is called a canvas view. And third thing is, in the mule, how do we develop the code? How do we develop the applications? With the help of drag and drop. When you want to do a drag and drop kind of thing, what you need is, you need a place for what should I drag drop, right? If I need a circle in the paint, I have circle here, I will drag drop. Some rectangle, I will do this. So in the same way, whenever you want something to do drag and drop in the mule, you have something called mule palette view. From the mule palette, you will drag drop the things. So first thing I'll do is I'll drag drop the HTTP listener. So I'm drag dropping here. So see here, when I do drag drop, it was showing something like we are dragging it. Okay. And see here, to get started, drag drop an operation or a scope from the Mule palette. So we are drag dropping something from Mule palette. So I'm doing from the favorites only. I'm not going to any other thing. And then, so HTTP listener means HTTP is a protocol used to handle the requests from the browser. So we all know when we open a Gmail, when we open anything, it starts with browser HTTP or HTTPS. It is related to that. If you want to accept some request from the internet, you should also use HTTP, right? So that's the reason I had shared HTTP. In HTTP, where should it look for example, where this example will going to run, right? So when you are opening any in HTTP, you are giving some host name and some port number. Okay, so something like this, you will have host name and all. Google.com, gmail.com is host name. Host name means that is the place where your mails are running. That is called gmail.com. If you open Facebook, facebook.com, Facebook is a host. In the same way, here you should tell where your application should run. So for that, you should create a connector configuration. Click on this plus button and then you will get a window. By default, all these values will be flowed here. You don't need to do anything. So just click on OK. So what is the host it is running? All interfaces 00 by default or localhost. It means wherever the current, it means the current mission. And then what is the port it was accepting the requests. In your mission, you will have different ports available. So they will be available for accepting the requests. So for HTTP, I am saying please accept the request at a 8081 port. It is something like the address, right? Every person will have their own address. If you are staying in the same home, then you will have different floors, different flat numbers, right? And um, if you have staying in the same house, few people will have their own separate rooms if you are in the PG or something like that, right? In the same way, for the system, even though it is running in the same mission, what is the port it is listening for? HTTP all requests come from this port. So do say okay. And then what was the path it was listening, right? So you may have many applications running on the same mission. What is its path? My path is mm, say hi. Okay, and then I'm using a simple logger to print something in the console. So whenever you receive the request, this will get executed. It will print some message, and then whoever invoked me, I want to send some message to them. So to send some message, use set payload, and then again at the end, use another logger, and then go to set payload. Make sure you will uncheck this. So switch to literal mode. Make sure you are switching to the literal mode. Don't write on a perfect here. So make sure this looks like a simple text field, not something like some highlighting. And say if you have payload already here, so you are seeing a colored code. So make sure you will uncheck this and then try to write some message saying, hi all, welcome to MuleSoft tool. Right? I'm saying this message. And now go here and save your application. Now how to run your application? To run your application, right click on your canvas, right click on your project. If you right click on your project, you will get many options. Here you have run as option. So this is a bit complex for you guys now. So use this right click and run your first example. And then the fourth view that I'm going to introduce you is the console. So here it will show you the application building and running status. Whatever in your command prompt, you will see the things when you are running. You will see the same things in your console. So totally how many views we have discussed? We have discussed view number one, Package Explorer, where you will see all the projects available in your workspace, and inside the projects, what are the content available. And view number two is Canvas, that is nothing but where you will develop your code. And view number three is the Mule palette. This is the place where you will have your activities to use drag and drop and to build your application. And view number four is Mule properties. When you select one component, the properties of the component will get displayed over here. So if you see, the properties window is changing its name to your component, and then there you are writing your there you are giving your properties. And view number five is your console, where it will show you the uh, uh, where it will show you the build and deployment runtime log messages you will see in the console. Now, once you run your application, make sure that you will get this message called deployed. So you will get a message called deployed. It means your application is deployed. Now it's the time to run your application. So how do you run your application? How do you access your Gmail? So when it is on HTTP, you should have an URL constructed to it. So what is that URL you are going to construct? So what is your Gmail looks like? HTTP gmail.com. How your Facebook look like, http facebook.com. In the same way, when you are running your application, so what is this? It is called a domain name when it is available in the internet. When it is available in your local machine, so http, and along with that, after http, the default port is 80. Okay. So if you don't mention any port with the HTTP, it will take it as an 80. So how you are writing facebook.com running at the 80. So here my application is running in the host, local host, and I configured a port called 8081 when I am configuring my HTTP listener. So when you do click on this new button, and this was created, right? And then if you want to see it again, do edit, don't click on the new for the second time. So what is host and what is port, right? So this is 8081 and 8081. After that, where is your application running? My application is running on, my application is listening for only specific paths on here, that is say hi. So in your canvas, let me show you at the end. So now let's go and execute this example from the browser. So now you are sending a request to your service, and sending a request to your Mule application from here, and then it return you, hi all, welcome to MuleSoft tool. And along with that, we have added two loggers. So after deployed, whatever is printed is our logger. So this is deployed message. After that, it have printed something in the loggers. So that is due to the help of that is due to the help of our loggers. It get printed here. So this is how you will execute your first mule example. So as the studio, as we are discussing about the studio features, in the studio features we said, like your your studio supports two-way editing between graphical and XML view. So it means here in the canvas, here you have three sections. Yes, Shiva, you raised your hand.
Kishore, actually, there is a delay between your voice
Shiva,
and
any questions?
video, Kishore. Yeah,
Yes.
can you hear me, Kishore?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, actually there is a delay between. Yeah, actually there is a delay between your voice and video. Is unable to
Mhm.
follow.
Oh, is that same for
Then
everyone,
only
guys?
problem with me or
No, Shiva, everything is fine from our end. So I think you just check your connectivity once.
Do rejoin Shiva then.
okay, okay, okay,
Do
okay, okay,
rejoin.
okay. Yeah, sorry.
Now you are at the point of google.com, right? So you are browsing something. Is it right, Kishore?
Yeah, yeah, right, right, right,
Right,
right,
right.
right.
Yeah, you can continue now, Kishore.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. And so we were talking about Studio. Studio supports two-way editing between graphical and XML views. So graphical view is this and an XML view is this. In between that, there is something called global element. We'll see in the further sessions. But somehow when you are practicing, when you click on edit or something on the configuration properties, connectors, it will take you directly to your global elements. So, so make sure you are switching to wherever you are here, make sure you will come back to the message flow and do practice. So this is how you will execute your first example. So do execute, do download. I shared you guys the steps in the chart window. First one is to download the studio, and second one is to mm, develop the first application. Do follow the step-by-step guidelines given there, and then set up your first example, set up your studio, and then set up your first example. And the next thing is mule applications and flows. So before going to that, we have missed this Anypoint Studio anatomy. So now you guys are clear, right? Package Explorer is something that shows your package, your project and its files. Canvas is something where you can draw your code or where you can design your application code. Palette is something, this is a place where you can use your components to design your application. And mule properties is another one, another view. So this is here you can configure your property values of your property, your components, and console, which will show you the execution log, or whenever you are building and deploying the application, it will show you the current progress or messages here. So that is about your Anypoint Studio anatomy. So setup is done, anatomy is done, and then first application development and testing is also completed. Now you will go and see about how Mule applications are created, and what are the Mule flows, Mule configuration files, and Mule flows. So when you see this, this is your Mule application. It looks like this. Every Mule application is a combination of one or more Mule configuration files. So when you create a Java project, each Java project contains .java files. When you create a C project, each C project contains .c files. In the same way, when you create your Mule application, it will have Mule configuration files, and these Mule configuration files will be an XML file. So it will contain XML data inside it, and Mule will read that XML data and process it. So when you develop your code was like this. This is the code you have developed. So in your project, you may have one or more configuration files, but at least you should have one file. That is about your Mule configuration file. In the Mule configuration file, what you will write is, this is called your Mule flow. So the core component of your Mule application is Mule flow. So flow is something like this. So whenever you have a flow, um, your Mule configuration file can have more than one flow as well, but at least you should have one configuration file, and one flow should be exist for any of the applications. If you don't have flow, means you don't have anything in the Mule applications. right? So your Mule application have one flow. So let's recap our example what we did. So what from where we are sending this request? From where we send this request? We sent this request from browser, right? So browser is the triggering point. So which is triggering request for us. But in the Mule application, who is catching this trigger? Catching the trigger or catching the request, right? So, and who is printing something in the log? And fourth one is who is returning some message, hello, welcome, some blah blah message to browser. So all these are things done by your event processors. All these four things are done by your event processor. All these four things are arranged in a Mule component called a flow. So all your complete code will be written inside a flow. So when you write a Java class, you will write the Java class inside your when you write a Java application, you will write your Java code in a Java class, right? When you write um, something inside your C, you will write in some functions. So the first building block inside your Mule application is your Mule flow. Your Mule flow will contains a combination of one or more components. So it's combination of one or more components. So generally generic term is component, but the proper term is event processor. So we will see why it is called as an event processor in the next session. So when you come to a flow is combination of one or more components or event processor. The first component is something like which accepts some data, or this is called source event processor. So triggering point, which catches the triggering point is which is called source event processor. When you don't remember, when you are feeling difficult to remember the names, that fine, leave it. So flow is something like where you will design your application logic. In that first one should accept the request and the remaining things will process the request. Okay, this is called everything is called a component or event processor, and the first thing is called source event processor, and depending on your components functionality, it will behave. So if I want to print something, I should use a component called logger. If I want to return some data, I will return with the help of the set payload. So what will happen when this entire flow is getting executed? It will check for the latest value of the set payload, and then that latest value will get returned back to the user. So if you override set payload 10 times, the latest value at the 10th set payload, you can use as many as set payloads you want, and then I was configuring two set payloads. So here I am saying another, I am updating this again one more time, saying this time, hi all, welcome. I'll write in capitals to emphasize this. Welcome again to MuleSoft tool. My application is running mode. So once your application is running mode, if you do changes and if you do save it, you don't need to stop and restart it. Your IDE is capable enough to identify the changes of the running application, and then it will, if you observe this, it will build my application and then it will redeploy immediately without your any intervention. So see this guy, last time it was printed this content for us, and then it identifies the changing, it says redeploying, stopping the application and disposing it, and again it was started freshly a deployment without our intervention. That is nothing but your XXX functionality. Okay, that is one more feature of your IDE. So now my application is ready. Now let me go here and test my application again. And now you will get hello, welcome again to MuleSoft. Overall, what I want to say is your Mule application is a combination of one or more Mule configuration files. In the Mule configuration files, I will write my logic in the flows. Each flow is a connection of one or more event processors. In the first event processor is called source event processor, which accepts the request from the external world, something like a browser in this example, and then it will pass the request to the next thing. Like this, it will keep on going. By end of your flow, your flow, whatever the latest value of set payload, that will get returned to the whoever is invoked my flow. So time being, you are invoking through the browser, so your browser has received this. So this is what your first example is. Every application is a combination of one or more mule configuration file. Each mule configuration file contains a flow. Even the flows are also one or more. And so this is how your flow look like. So Mule application receive events, process them, and route them to the other endpoints. So whatever you have received, that is called an event, and whatever the components are processing the events, they are called event processors. In the next session or fourth session, we'll talk more about these events. So time being, say feel like event is some request you are receiving. So Mule application accepts and process a Mule event through a series of Mule event processors plugged together in a flow. A Mule event source that initiates the execution of the flow. So the same points in a bit technical terms are mentioned here. Mule application accepts and process the Mule events. So accepts the Mule event first. So it accepted my Mule event from the browser, and then um, and then it processes through a series of Mule event processors. So it processes the Mule event through with the help of Mule event processors, um, plugged together in a flow. So a Mule event source that initiates the execution of the flow. So in this case, HTTP listener is your Mule event source. And your Mule event processors are set payload, and loggers are your Mule event processors. And then so there are some other thing. Event processors, what event processors will do? The event processors will do filter, enrich, and process the events and its messages. So what are this? We'll see in the next session. So Mule application flow, if you see this, your Mule application flow will contain an event processor. I think we are over the time. Let me take complete in 1 or 2 minutes. So this is an event source, and these are the event processors, and something called error handling we'll see in the whenever you get the time. But generally your Mule flow looks like this. Mule application basically contains one or more flows. A Mule flow starts processing an event when it is received by an event source. So a flow either contains all the processing stages, blah blah stuff. You can ignore this. If required, you can break up this into multiple flows. Sorry, multiple flows and subflows. Even we look at this at the later point of time, because these are all the points we are going to cover in the next sessions. But time being, you can remember Mule application, Mule configuration file, and then Mule flow. So these three are enough for today's session. And flow XML, already we have seen there is a flow created in the graphical view. It will have an XML view, that is the XML and graphical view. So Mule application building blocks. So we'll talk about these building blocks tomorrow. These are the components that exist. in your mule palette. So do the first example, and tomorrow we'll talk about these building blocks. And then tomorrow what we will do, today we run the example, right? Tomorrow we will debug the example, and we will start looking at the how to read a file. So as I told you, right, in my first session, so different ways of integration. This is a slide I ask you to capture it. So with this slide, what happened? Yeah, with this slide, so every time we'll go to the concepts. So these are the ways of integrations we will discuss. We'll start with reading a file, because file it is a very simple thing to read, and then we'll try to see how Mule will process the data. So there we will see the Mule event model. That is the important thing. So tomorrow is your last session for free session. So do discuss with Girish or me about the next steps after the session. So you can also attend the session in the same link tomorrow. So from fourth session onwards, this link may change. Do consult us. Okay, if you want to continue. So anyone has any questions here?
Hello.
Yes, Srinivas.
Sir, the session is right, but this
Mhm,
is my first session, so little bit of difficult to understand. Can you
mhm.
send the videos after this?
Yeah, you will get the videos for first 1-2 sessions. I will upload in the same place. So whatever the place I shared with you, right?
This is my first session. That is the
No
problem.
problem. Didn't you go through this yesterday?
I didn't go through this, sir. I want to
Okay,
go
no
through this.
problem. Go through it. Go through it. No problem. You can attend one more session. So just whatever that I discussed, only the simple things. Okay. So it's not a problem. You can attend. We'll discuss at the after end of the session. So, others, you have any questions on today's session? Are you able to catch the things how Mule applications are running?
Actually,
Yeah,
Okay.
Kishore.
Sneha, you
a
unmute
little
it.
bit confusion. Actually, we are
Your voice was too low.
I'm audible.
You were audible,
Right
but
now,
it
I'm
was
audible.
very low.
Okay, I'll increase my volume.
So, what was the confusion you had?
Actually, I don't understand. Actually, it takes some time. Maybe. It was like
Uh-huh.
clumsy. It takes some time.
Okay, no problem. So, do this first example today. So, are you able to understand of downloading and
Yes,
creating installation of your studio? And
yes.
then go.
But after that, actually, what you have created the program, no? So that was explain the canvas, everything. That was a little bit confusion.
No problem. You can go here again. I will explain in tomorrow session. So if you see my screen, there is a last chat message was there. So
Hmm.
do catch that and do practice example with that. Then you will get more clarity.
Okay.
So when you guys are first time listening this drag and drop based programming, everyone has that kind of little bit confusion.
Hmm.
So do the first example, just follow the steps, do it 1 or 2 times and execute the example. You will get all your dots will be connected.
Okay.
It's the
Okay.
same message for everyone who feels it's new.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. So Venkat, you have any question? Venkat Raju?
Mm, I don't have any questions, but your session is a bit fast while explaining.
uh Is
That's
it same
why
for everyone?
I could not understand.
Then you could have raised your hand at that moment itself, or pass on the
Okay, it
same
is
message.
fine. I will
No
revise the
problem.
video.
So yeah, whenever you feel such kind of thing, just do let me know in the chat or do raise your hand. That's fine. I will slow it down. Okay.
Okay.
Others, Ashok. So that's fine. If you guys have any questions, you can stay back. Javed, are you saying anything?
No, Kishore, everything is fine from my end. So
Hmm.
today's overview, what I understood is that we're creating one application in our local host and we are browsing with one protocol that is HTTP and we're sending the request to it. That's
That's
it.
it.
What? Right then.
That's it.
Fine from my end. Thanks.
Okay. So that's all for today. We'll meet tomorrow. If you have any questions, you can stay back.